My name is Dr. Tyler Tolbert.
And I'm Dr. Soren Poppy.
And you're listening to The Fix Podcast,
your source for all things implant dentistry.
Ways of the artist. I learned that from, let me adjust my camera just a little bit here. Yeah, I learned that from my best buddy is Mexican, so we exchange a lot of Mexican jokes, or at least he exchanges them with me. So I picked up some casual Spanish, but I won't insult you with my very cursory Spanish knowledge.
I don't think you could fight back on the ones I know.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. So let's talk about the course. What does it offer? Who's it right for? What makes it different?
I think it's very wide spectrum. The Ways of the Artist is very wide spectrum, but it's a very, I would say, psychological approach to the arches.
Okay.
Because I definitely talk a lot about, in the beginning at least, about the reason we do arches, about I have a secret hashtag called Ways of the Heart, because I've been through hell and back again in my personal life with what I love to attribute to the arches being a factor, the way I started arches, the way I started having complications. I started growing my business around arches. And I forgot that, I forgot about, I guess, the key ingredient in life, which is love, family, your close circle, Like, I'm sure if I die tomorrow, this podcast might be around for many years, but nobody's going to print a picture of Dr. Nestor and put it on their walls. Nobody.
Yeah, right.
My son might, like, oh, that was my dad. I'm going to keep a picture of him in my wallet. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But that's it, man. Like, we are here not for the fame of it, not for the... But I searched that, man. In the beginning years of my career, I was like, I want to be the best. I want everybody to know me for this, And I followed the wrong way, the wrong path, So Ways of the Arches is kind of all-encompassing. It not only encompasses the way we should think regarding life, love, protocols, surgical techniques, we discuss both analog and digital, and we show you how to do it analogically, which is starting to become an old book, a dusted old book.
It's a dying art.
Yeah. But we also teach digital, like the protocols of how to, do immediate load in a digital way, blah, blah, blah. I don't like guided surgery, so we stick kind of away from it. It's got its place, but that's not something you learn at Ways of the Arches, like how to do stackable guides and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's
not enough time. But so Ways of the Arches is that it's an A through Z course, but when I say A, I mean like starting point, and starting point is not or should not be models and photography and CT scan. Starting point should be how are you doing? And make sure that what you tell your patient and you communicate through your patient secures that you will remain doing good. Once you got that covered, like, okay, I'm going to have a workflow and I'm going to offer something to my patient that is so good that I know I will sleep okay at night. That I know that I'm charging something that is worth much more than what I'm delivering.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I do.
What you're delivering is worth more than what you're charging.
Yeah.
So you can be content with that. Be like, I'm happy about that, man. Like, I am happy about how we did things. And it'll shine back to your life, Because if you start getting in trouble because you're like, I'm going to do pterygoids, although I've been doing 3 arches, but here's my first cygo. I'm going to do a cygo to prove to your friends that around you maybe that you can already do cygos. Like, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Who cares? Anyway, so Ways of the Arches starts there, then it starts everything we do protocol-wise for our patients, with starting at the prosthetic necessities, prosthetic alignment with surgery. Then we go through surgery, surgical techniques. I give kind of the basic propositions for distribution of implants. And then Juan Gonzalez also joins us. So he brings Patsy and he brings his technique on pterygoids. I bring my technique on pterygoids, although it started with Juan's. I've modified it and made it my own, which is something everybody ends up doing in surgery. You modify your technique.
Yeah.
And then Juan covers cygos a little bit, and then we end up the course with, I'm just talking about theory here. I'm going to tell you about something else. And we end up the course with phase 2 and delivering final prosthetics. Now, something cool about Ways of the Arches, man, unlike so many courses I've been to, is we show about 3, 4, sometimes 5 live surgeries, Most courses you go to, it's like you watch one live surgery, it's over, voila. Here, I'm doing a surgery in one unit, Juan's doing a surgery in the other unit. The interns are rotating.
Oh,
You
cool.
get 10 minutes in one surgery, 10 minutes in the other.
Yeah.
Usually I let them hey, has anybody placed a pterygoid before? No. You want to? Yeah, come on. They'll sit down with me and we'll start placing. Has anybody, exposed nasal crest and exposed into the nose? No, come here. I'm going to let you do it. If the patient is okay with it, and usually everybody is. So everybody gets a little bit of hands-on in actual surgery because we have so many surgeries. All right, we're going to do a lower, which we rarely do a lower. Who wants to have a go at it, Open up. Oh, that's not how I would do it. I would show you this trick. Oh, wow, cool. I'd never done that. Well, now you know, little tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And by looking at more than one surgery, it becomes like this. We're doing surgery all the time. We do model work too, man. It's 4 days.
A little bit of everything.
It's a 4-day internship, so it's a lot. In the evenings, man, that's where it's wild. Because I like to consider Arizona and this part of Mexico like the Wild West.
It is, yeah.
And the people that live in it too, So we hit up the desert more than one time. And we go off-roading into the sand dunes. That's one of them, Then we go and take a lot of guns and beer and nothing more illegal. But we take it out to the desert and we literally blow up stuff. Like we blow up tannerite, we get gas cans, we get gasoline. Oh,
yeah. No, you keep going. It's fine. It's just the feed. It's fine.
So we blow stuff up. Juan Gonzalez brings guns. I have a lot of guns. We shoot a lot of things. Here's the funny thing about Ways of the Arches, man, and this is a real thing, and I need you to know this if you're planning on coming to the Ways of the Arches. There's a waiver that you have to sign that says,
this is great.
It literally says, if you die, you die. And I'm not responsible. It's so wild, man, because, well, in reality, it sounds funny, but we actually do have a waiver, and it's because we use guns, And although this last course, there was 2 trained actual law enforcement people teaching us and being careful and giving us the pros, the way you should handle a gun.
Yeah, trigger discipline and things.
Even if you're a connoisseur, there could be an accident, So we try to keep it very safe, but it's wild. And in that same night where we do shooting and exploding things in the desert, we also have a complications lecture in the desert, which has become this just very special thing. It's Juan's complication lecture, which we keep adding to it, complication stuff. But as Juan is speaking in the desert of Arizona, man, it's in the U.S. Don't worry, we're not shooting guns in Mexico. People would shoot back. This complication lecture has become so special because we're out there where Juan is speaking complications in the desert, and it's also kind of philosophically engaging about being in the desert,
It's a spiritual awakening we're having here.
It's almost like a spiritual awakening, man.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
And we're grilling, we're making carne asada out there, it's almost like a camping trip,
Yeah.
There's some alcohol involved, of course. So it's very, there's not been a person that comes to Ways of the Arches that is not dude, it's just, I've never done continuing education like that.
Yeah, it's a different way to do it.
CE, what?
That's huge.
Wait,
yeah.
Can I do it? Can I come back again? I'm you can, man, but.
Double dip.
So it's everything, man. It's you get exposed to our protocol, which may not be the protocol that your current mentor has, and that's okay. But it could be Or you could be a badass full archer already that comes and realizes that you needed, something that lightened your heart. A weekend, a getaway that lightened your heart. Everything's safe. We don't do anything like crazy. We're not hitting up strip clubs or anything like that. People can if they want to, but we don't.
Sure.
Keep it very safe. This is for all the wives watching this podcast. Everything is very safe. And girls are definitely invited. There's been a couple girls that signed up to it. I think our marketing for Ways of the Arches has kept some girls away, I think, because they're like, that seems like a boy's trip,
It's masculine.
Like,
it is.
It seems masculine, but we're like, it's not, You like,
yeah.
Please come join us. So
Yeah.
But anyways,
of course. Yes, it's gender neutral.
About
It's
Ways
just
of the Arches. It's gender neutral for sure.
That's awesome. That's great. No, I mean, that sounds like an absolute blast. And I know a couple guys that have been out there. Chris Epperson did it not too long ago. Skylar Morton, as well, as a good friend of mine. And he had an absolute blast. Yeah, he's a badass.
It was kind of his vibe too, man. Skylar was like, dude,
he was at home there.
Yeah. He was at home. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they both had really positive reviews about it. And they recommended, we get around to it at some point, which I'm sure I will. But yeah,
you're more than welcome. Yeah.
Also, of course.
And then it's Skylar, just like any other course you take, probably there's access to us after the course too.
Sure. Yeah.
He's called me before, like, hey man,
he's an alum.
What do you think about this? How would you do this? I'm like, dude, this, and Skylar's really efficient already. So
he's great.
I'm like, I just move a little bit this way, and he starts nailing things. So he's great.
Yeah. He picks it up quick. Awesome. So I do want to kind of get into, some grittier details of just like clinical protocols and things that you post about as well, just because we always try to, have some actionable things for folks watching the show. So something that I had actually commented on one of your posts recently about, and I'd seen it a few times, and I've actually done it a couple times, but I need to talk to you to make sure I'm doing it right. So in one of the post that you made, it was an upper fixed 6 implants, and you had with the distal tilted implants, you had actually perfed the buccal plate intentionally. So it very, very little, just the apex of the implant had gone through. So I've actually gotten some questions about this. Why? When is it indicated? What are some issues that can come about with it? Do we polish the implant? All that kind of stuff. And also, what do you call it? What do we call these things?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I don't think it's been called yet, so all I call it is apical fenestration technique.
Apical fenestration, okay.
Yeah, so why?
Cool.
Because the tip of the implant fenestrates, apically wherever you're trying to engage. And it's basically an anchorage technique. It's not remote. It's close proximity.
Yeah.
It's anchorage into harder cortical bone,
It's local anchorage.
It's local anchorage. Exactly. It's not remote. It's local anchorage.
Yeah.
Very simple,
Mm-hmm.
Let me read a comment that somebody made on Instagram. I agree with you. Somebody was like, hey man, let me read the comment because I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I answered, but okay. So this person said, hey, I don't know, doc. Like, I'm not sure about it. In some cases that I have left the implant tip like that, I had to reopen and do implantoplasty because the patients kept having pain in that area.
Yeah.
I think soft tissue and sharp edges don't go well together.
Yeah, sure. Unattached mucosa.
In most cases, I would agree. And my answer to him is the one I'm going to give here, and it explains the technique very simply. We don't want coat hangers. Anything that overextends past a millimeter into the osteotomy, into the fenestration, can have problems, Just like lifting the nasal mucosa to place an implant into the nasal floor.
Yeah.
The way I teach that one is don't overdo it. You want to make sure you stay 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters engaging into that area. So if you see the pictures that I post, you'll never see this.
Right.
You'll see probably that, and you'll see it kind of sideways, so you can see it more. If you were to look at it like that, it would probably be like that. And that's never been an issue, and I've been doing it for many years now. I have to write about it with complications. Where it has been an issue, and that there's actually literature about fenestrations like that, is if it's overextended. Kind of like with cheekbone, with zygomas,
Sure.
We can definitely have some fistulas. We can have pain in the area. And if that happened to you because your drilling protocol was off, and I'll talk about drilling protocol right now,
Yeah.
All you have to do is like, as you mentioned, kind of like an apicoectomy on the tip of the implant, you know? You
Yeah.
polish that tip of the implant, voila, it's gone. It's simple, you know? Even if you had to come back to it 3 months later and the patient's like, yeah, something here feels a little off. Oh, honey, don't worry. Slide it open, polish it off, close it.
Yeah, just where it's at. You don't even have to do
You
a full
were
flap,
able
really.
to load
Yeah.
your implant. You had good torque, you know?
Yeah.
Now, drilling technique, it's very simple. I talk about this is just actually in the Ways of the Arches, we talk about something called the Empire State concept. And the Empire State concept, man, is just a under drill sequence, you know? We go to length, desired length, with 2.0 or with your initial drill, which usually the tip is around the same diameter tip of your implant.
2.2, something like that.
Any fenestration that you make, you just want to make sure the channel is open. The moment you overextend that osteotomy or you over drill it with like 3.5 or 3, the body of your implant will have to go in more.
Yeah. You would have to overextend to get anything out of it. Yeah.
And that's where that complication will happen. Then you have a coat hanger coming out of that osteotomy. I think you're off again, man. But
Just keep going. I'll get it restored.
okay. So anyways, very simple technique. It's an under prepping technique. You want to make sure that you always fenestrate. You don't want to make your implant try to fenestrate, because if the implant reaches that cortical, it will spin. It'll become a spinner without you having created a little axis for it. So you do fenestrate, at least with your initial drills. And I think I have videos on that on my Instagram. Initial drill fenestrates, and that's it. The next drill, which usually is a 3.5 for me, doesn't even get close to it. It goes probably mid osteotomy of the full implant length that I want to place in the area. So just kind of creating the channel. And why do we say that? Because we believe that the magic is in the tip. So kind of like remote anchorage, it's all tip related, you know? So yeah, that's basically that with that technique. It's a technique where you fenestrate. Why do we fenestrate buccally, you know, kind of towards the end point? Because bone is dense there.
Yeah.
But also, I like to see, you know, a lot of the times when we fenestrate into the nasal floor, you know you fenestrated. You can feel if you lift the nasal mucosa, but you really don't see where you're at. You know, sometimes you don't see. So it's become a simplicity thing for me to just be like, even if as soon as I know that the area doesn't have very dense bone, just a conventional all within body implant, all within bone implant,
Endosseous, yeah.
Fenestrate. Yeah, I'll just fenestrate buccally towards the end point.
Okay.
Golden triangle that some people say. I'll fenestrate. Immediately I know my implant's going to get good torque. If that wasn't an option, if that doesn't work, I'll redirect my implant and probably go into the nasal floor. There's a good cortical there too, cortical bone. I'll engage it. I'll lift the nasal mucosa and I'll engage the implant. Now, tip for that is make sure you always lift nasal mucosa, because some people just like to drill and fenestrate. You don't know where you're at, you know, and you could be very posterior or very anterior. Usually, as a tip, patients, if you poke your nose and they're like, will they feel it? It would be in the rim, like in the piriform rim. So you want to make sure you're at least 2 millimeters into the nasal floor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
For that and stuff that I can share if you want to put an image here for that.
Sure.
Very simple, very easy, and it saves you 80% of needing remote anchorage techniques.
I see. So, two questions. One, how would you, what do you use for the implantoplasty? Let's say you've overextended a little bit. What kind of burr, what would be your protocol, and when do you know that it's adequately polished?
I usually use, and I've had to use it. I've done this technique a lot, probably like 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
The same alveoplasty burr. I have a big lab burr, you know? That
sure.
Cut it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Easy.
Perfect.
Easy. I don't like to do it because I feel like if the implant already had, you know, doubtful torque, I feel like I mess with that. So
you're shaking
I make sure that my technique is on point. You have to. I saw somebody, and I don't want to criticize them. recently post, I'm not going to say the name. I don't think he's that popular yet. He should be. He's really good. But he posted fenestrating into the nose like quite a bit on purpose and then doing the alveoplasty. Like what for, you know? Why didn't you start off with a small 8mm implant if you were just going to cut it to 8mm anyway, you know? And fenestrate lightly, that's it.
Right.
The less we do, the better. Or I don't know if I became lazy, but I really don't want to do that unless it's necessary.
Yeah.
I'm going to post a follow-up of that case coming up.
Cool.
I just kind of have like different, and I'll show you how the mucosa looks. There's no fenestration. Patients are happy. I don't have complaints from irritability in the zone. Why? Because I stayed within a millimeter. All you want to do is engage.
Yeah.
If you're engaged and you did it correctly, that's where the torque is.
Right. Because that's the part of the implant that's ballooning out, and it's that sort of compression that's really giving you that torque from the cortical plate. So my second question then is, and you talked a little bit about your options there, like either going directly into or staying endosseous in that sort of golden triangle versus going into the nasal floor versus doing this, apical fenestration technique. What's like your go-to? Which one are you trying to do first and foremost? And then if you suspect you're not going to get torque, are you then opting for the apical fenestration or the nasal cavity? What's your decision tree there?
Yeah, I think it's kind of become, obviously I try immediately to have the implant completely within bone, and
that's the safest thing.
It's like a probe, as you're drilling, it feels like a probe. Okay, I'm within bone. That's 60 millimeters, which is my go-to.
Yeah.
Great. Then I'll follow my drill sequence and blah, blah, blah. I don't like the torque because I drilled with my initial drill, which is the probe, and I'm like, I think it could be better. Immediately, I go into fenestration, apical fenestration at that point.
Okay.
I just have had really good results. It's easy. I don't have to put a instrument into the nasal mucosa. Not that that's hard at all, but it's already there. All I'll do is I'll stay in the same position. Yeah. It's just the tip angling outward, and I'll hit it. I'll feel resistance, and all of a sudden,
punch. Yeah.
Through, clean it up, clean the debris, drill the next drill, and usually, man, 90% of the time, even more, I'll get really good torque there. Sometimes you don't even have to fenestrate as you're engaging that. Every time you're proximal to a cortical, it's like if you had a cushion against the wall.
Yeah.
The bone just, as you start getting closer, the bone doesn't
condenses
have anywhere to go, so it densifies there.
Yeah.
You don't even have to fenestrate. You have your path carved out to the fenestration, but your implant's getting close.
You don't even get there.
The bone can't go anywhere, so you have to.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
That's one way to view it.
Yeah, I think, I've done it at least one or two times, and I think the times when I did it, it wasn't because I knew that it was a good technique. It was because it's more of an anatomical thing, at least in the ones that I've done it in. Moving forward, I think I'll actually consider it as more of like a technical thing that's just a smart thing to do. But in my cases, it was, let's say, and I'm going to have to show you something. And of course, anyway, the times where I've done it, it's usually going to be something like, let's say I'm doing an upper single arch and the patient has a proclined maxilla. And so I'm trying to come from that distal position. And as I'm trying to angle myself for the nose, it's just that undercut. I can't do it in such a way without adopting a really extreme angle as I try and get that tip. I guess the word is palatable enough to purchase the nose, and it ends up coming out the buccal plate. And so I was like, well, you know what, screw it. I'm going to do it because I know I'm going to get torque, and I'm just not going to overextend it, and it works. So I definitely think it's a useful thing for anatomical considerations as well, not just to get torque in any situation, but it might be the better situation because prosthetically that ends up being better because I don't have to angle so severely buccally and then count on my multi-unit to try and bring that back in, to my occlusal table where my access is going to be, and then furthermore have to rely on an angle correcting screw to get it, where it needs to be. So
exactly, and I would add to that, man. Beware, let's say this is your bone. You want to make sure on that technique that you're actually engaging or starting your osteotomy a bit more in that case, palatally.
It's got to be palatal. Yeah. Mhm.
It's got to be
Yeah.
palatal. So like if this is your bone, this is palate, you want to make sure you're starting on this area and not here, or else, because I've seen people try to do that, trying to do the technique, and they fenestrate, but the bone is so thick that so thin right there.
You're an L fracture.
They'll have a buckle fracture. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Technique sensitive for sure. You know, it just makes sense to whoever's been doing it for a while. But that's one of the things that like, hey, I tried it, but look what happened. You know, it's a big chunk of bone just fractured. I'm like, you need to start a bit more palatal.
Yeah. So it's not like you're going in the exact same osteotomy. You're really going to have to come more palatal, so you kind of transecting that alveolar process instead of just like riding along the buccal plate.
Yeah, and it gets corrected with a multi-unit super easily, man. It's
of course, yeah.
Not a lot. It's not like a SIGO that was super easily placed through.
Yeah, like the intrasinus zygos that come out of the roof of them.
Exactly. It's not something like that, you know. But
no, of course.
That usually works out. You can do it also, man. Mandible. I don't know if you've done it already.
Oh, sure, yeah.
In the mandible, you can fenestrate buccally too. That's a very, very, very thick cortical. So
yeah, absolutely. I recently, I've done it. I think I early in my journey. I'm sure
you post a mandible with that too. I think so, right? Or
yeah. Well, on the other side, I did a lingual. I did like a translingual.
Yeah, man. I've never done that. I got to see how that turns up, man.
Me too.
I wonder if a patient's tongue, you know, could. I think
right.
It'd be fine.
Right. We'll see.
But that's a really cool case. Just that was anatomy driven too, right?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that she just had that very like sort of sigmoid, like hourglass mandible. And if I got any more anterior, there'd been almost zero spread. There really wasn't even spread to speak of anyway. But yeah, I tried to keep it totally endosseous, but it just ended up, you know, cutting through. And I mean, I knew I was probably going to have to do this in the first place. I tried not on the other side. I managed to stay entirely in bone, but in this one, it just wasn't there for me. So I had to perf through that lingual plate, go through it, and then re-engage that inferior portion. So it's, you know, multi-corticalization. Torqued out great. Sure. But the key was trying to stay as flush to the bone as I could, because if I got those threads hanging out there and they start playing with it with their tongue, it's not going to be a good story. She hasn't said anything about it. We'll see. It's still very early.
I think
but yeah, we'll see the long term on that one. I don't want it to be something where I just, you know, post it and be like, yeah, this will work long term.
You're right.
But if it weren't that, it was going to be a snap. And I had a backup plan. I had a 2 implant overdenture ready to load if it ended up going that way. But fortunately, we didn't need it on the day. But yeah, no, I definitely have done that on the lower before. But I think that was like early on in the journey, and probably because I wasn't flapping adequately. And
probably a mistake. Here's the thing, man, and it's funny that you say that, but I think we've all together worldwide have made enough mistakes that have broken the rules.
Yeah.
We've found out that rules can be broken sometimes.
They're like, okay,
we can do this. This technique makes this work.
Well,
let's try that, you know?
I'm convinced that's where root banking came from. Like, we just couldn't get the damn thing out of there. They're like, no, it preserved bone. It's fine.
Just leave it, man. Coronectomy. That's what we
It's just a coronectomy is all it is. We just got to call it a name, and it's not a mistake anymore. Exactly. But I lost my camera feed again, so I'm just going to start the next question. Good. So I do want to talk. So we already talked ways of arches, test for surgical. Okay, here's a good question. So what would you say? We talked about pterygoids. We talked about the apical fenestration. What would you say in your practice? And you've posted a lot of palatal approach, all these crazy things.
Sure.
If you had to say like one technique that's really transformed your full arch practice more than anything, what would that have been?
Wow. There's so many, man. I feel like there's so many little tips and tricks, you know, like I feel like drilling protocol, what I call the Empire State, that changed my practice because my torque went from being happy with getting 25 to 30 to like being at 60 or 70 nowadays. And comfortably, like all my implants will normally be 60, 70. Pterygoids, obviously, like I think they're not trendy. I think they just changed our idea of what CTV is for the arch community, which at the end of the day just makes us all sleep better tonight, you know? When people ask me, like, who gets pterygoids, I, to this day, say everybody gets pterygoids. Why? Because I like to sleep at night. You know, I like to know that my torque value addition it's way past 120, and if the patient wants to go and cheat a little bit and need something that they shouldn't, they're a bit safer, you know. So obviously pterygoids are great. Palatal approaches is amazing.
Yeah.
Which, there's a lot of discussion, you know, like who created it, who invented it, which why I'm considering changing it to palatal exposure technique instead of palatal approach, just to hammer into the drama of like, oh no, I did it first. No, I did it first.
No, there's nuances. It's different, I swear.
Yeah. So like what I'm doing a lot is when I do palatal fenestration or palatal exposure technique, what I do is I fenestrate to the endpoint to like add my little thing.
Oh, that is different. That is very different. Yeah. So that's really interesting. Yeah. So I mean, typically when I've taught folks palatal approach, I'm always saying like, very rarely is that a fully endosseous implant. Like it's going to have to purchase something. Like it needs to be the nasal cortex. But I've never done that with an apical fenestration. That's really smart. Yeah. That is different. That's novel. Yeah.
Most of mine will have that apical fenestration, and it ends up sometimes anatomically driven to have to be into the nasal floor, you know?
Yeah,
or just anywhere, fenestrating anywhere in the piriform rim. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that apical fenestration endpoint has been a game changer for me.
Yeah, I feel like that one's
to add to the list of things that have changed the game for me. You know.
I feel like that one's kind of tricky too, because with palatal approach, you're already having to correct for the palatal bias that the implant already has. You know, part of the trick of it is actually buccalizing the implant against the ridge to try and get it to a better restorable position. Because when I first started doing it, I'd be like, oh, cool, I got torque and everything. But then I look at my prosthetic and I'm like totally palatal to the tooth, and I've made too thick of a prosthetic. So with that, in order to get, you know, as we discussed, in order to do that apical fenestration technique, you need to kind of already be more palatal. So maybe it's more appropriate for that. But at the same time, like you can't cheat even more palatal, because then you're going to have a bit of an emergence issue, right? So that's tricky. That's tricky. You've definitely got to have the end in mind to nail that.
You have to have the experience to know, you know, also where you want your MUA to be prosthetically driven, and not overdo it. But those are two good options. You know, you either go into the nose, you either don't fenestrate, or you go to the endpoint buccal fenestration, apical fenestration.
But you surprised me with that answer though, because I feel like almost everybody is going to, you know, they're going to point out, you know, they're going to say, you know, a technique. They're going to say pterygoid, palatal approach, everything. You just said the Empire State thing, right? Just creating that taper with the osteotomy and learning how to create torque out of just traditional placement. And that's something that I've actually, totally. And it's haptic, right? Like you have to be able to read with your hands. And I found too, in my cases where I always opted for much longer implants and always tried to get cortical stability and things, if I don't need it, I probably shouldn't do it. Like, you know, just for the sake of conservancy and like being able to retreat this arch. If I usually place like a 4.0. Yeah, like I usually place like a 4.016, try and put it to the nose. But like if I really don't need it, a lot of times I will opt for like a 4.013, get the torque with just the bone that I have available. And then if that fails, I know I can go right back in that same spot. Now I can get the nose with a 4.016 and boom, it's a 2-for-1 deal. Like I got two options out of one osteotomy. So, you know, just knowing how to really massage the bone and get it to where it's going to give you torque on its own without the need for cortical anchorage, like that's a skill, and that's one that only comes with time.
I've always said, and I stand true to this, is stability is about drilling. You know, that's where it's at. Stability is about drilling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what you said, like the I call it the probe, you know, but the initial drill is that probe to see like, this bone feels good, this bone doesn't feel good. This is where the surgery is going to go, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And just having that, you know, repeatable, like going right back through the same osteotomy and not, you know, I think like a more amateur clinician, like they will adjust inside the osteotomy or they won't go back in exactly the same path. They end up widening it and then they get surprised when they don't have torque. And that's because you know, even with the smaller drill, you created a bigger hole. Right. So if you don't have that steadiness and repeatability, you won't get that, you know, repeated torque. So yeah, that's a good point there. So
key one.
Yeah, we're starting to get towards the end of our interview here. I know we both are seeing patients and things. So one of my big questions that I always like to ask my guests is, what is your most controversial opinion in full arch about trends, things going on, things that you're seeing? What's something that you feel is like kind of counterculture?
I am very pro evolution. So I will say this. I will say not everything that shines is gold. But the only way to find anything shiny is by digging.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So I will be the first one to tell you, try it. Try it. I am not a close-minded person to, I don't know if you recently saw somebody, I'm totally, hope you don't post this, or that you are going to post this. Somebody comment on my palatal fenestration technique, somebody very famous. I don't know if you got some of that hype going on.
Sure.
But, and it was somebody I respect and somebody I don't know them personally, but I respect them. And I think they did a lot of good to our profession. But they stayed as if the peak that they reached was the peak of the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
And I think we are a science in evolution. I think we are learning things. I think we are discovering things. I think we are realizing things that we thought didn't work can work with the proper techniques or the proper science to back it up. Implant designs, drilling techniques. So I'll repeat what I said. I said, not everything that shines is gold. But the only way to find anything shiny is by digging.
Just keep digging. That's good.
Keep digging.
Yeah, that's good. No, I think that's a great mentality, and that's really what's pushed our field forward. I mean, if we always did things the way they've been done, we wouldn't be having this conversation because this whole modality wouldn't exist. So yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I really look up to the folks that have been in our field for a long time, to the Michael Picoses of the world that are just students forever and are just always humble and willing to help out folks. And I feel like it's those types of mentalities that really push us forward and grow our profession. So no, that's solid. That's really solid. So I'm curious to, what is next for you, professionally, in terms of not just your clinic, but also just the impact that you wish to have in the full arch world with your courses, with, being on the lecture circuit and things like that. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. So, there's definitely things coming up that I can't say yet, but there's partnerships coming up with people that you guys already know.
Sure.
And we're thinking like pretty big, actually. We're thinking about pretty cool things coming up that we can hopefully help contribute, or at least unite into the full arch world. Definitely through education, through not only education, but merging education with breakthroughs in our world through technology.
Yeah.
Continuing that. Obviously, I love teaching, man. I love talking. I love people. So being out there and doing a course, doing a conference is always brings satisfaction to me, Being able to have somebody, somebody said it sounds dirty, but pop their pterygoid cherry. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yeah.
So like, I love being somebody that's like, come here, man. I will guide you through this and I'll make sure you do it right. And when it's done, man, it's like planting a tree.
Yeah.
And having somebody else water it and having somebody else take care of that. And like, the fruit of that tree is going to feed people.
Yeah.
And you are part of it. And it's kind of like, I'm kind of spiritual, so I believe in the spirituality of like, just through a wave that you sent out, or that you wholeheartedly like, this is good, man. This is how you do it. This is teaching, That's what teachers are. Like, teachers just have ripples that they'll never even know. But somebody's getting blessed somewhere because of something you did, and I find fulfillment in that.
Yeah, no, I totally.
Man, other than that, you can delete this, but fuck full arch, and like, I just care about my family, my kids.
I like this, actually.
My wife. if I die tomorrow, ain't nobody
Yeah.
going to post a picture of Dr. Nestor, you know?
Yeah.
Kids, my family, my wife, that's the most important thing in life for me. And I could lose both hands tomorrow and still be a happy man if I have them, you know? So,
Man, that's awesome. You know, something about full arches, there's not really, there's not an end point with it. You know, it's not like if you just keep chasing it and keep always doing the newest technique or trying something new that one day you're just going to get happy off a full arch. It just doesn't work like that. And, you know, you're only going to find contentedness, you know, with the people that are in your immediate life and making sure you're paying attention to them and you're keeping all those things in check. And really, that's the secret of doing this long term anyway, is just making sure that things are at home or and in the heart are in check. And, you know, that's probably one of the most valuable lessons that's been on the show in a long time. So I really appreciate you bringing that forward.
thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been awesome. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and it's done now. So
I know. Yeah.
I hope we get little good clips out of all this, man. But thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
For
you
sure,
for
man.
inviting me, Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in my next episode, I'll bring the cowboy hat that I recently acquired as well, just to honor you.
Do it, man. I would love that.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and dealing with my technical difficulties. Everybody, this is Nestor Marquez. Look him up on Instagram, Dr. Ness. He's got amazing cases, and he's got a lot of things to teach and share. Definitely look up Ways of the Arches. It looks like an amazing course that teaches a lot more than just arches. So thanks so much, and until next time, my man.
Till next time, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.